Today we are going to be learning about different meanings of words. We're using our context clues in our words, and when we use those context clues, we are able to find out the meaning of the word. Today we're going to read a lyric poem about an unusual fish. First, you will read to understand what the poem is about. Then you will reread with a partner to study context clues to the meaning of the unfamiliar words and phrases that are in this poem. We're going to begin by reading the title, making a prediction about what it will be about, and then reading the questions. The title is called The Catfish. And I see that catfish is really two words put together. It's a compound word, cat and fish. And I know that catfish might be an animal that has maybe two different parts of two animals put together. I also see that there is some text features. There's an illustration of a fish-looking mermaid cat, and there are also definitions at the bottom of our page. Feline, cat-like. Petrol and fishy, an acid and an old word for a mineral water. They are dangerous to mix. Close reader habits. How does the poet describe the catfish? Reread the poem. Underline words and phrases that explain how he imagines a catfish to look. Question number 1 on page 275 of your packet. In the poem, one word has this definition: to cry out in sadness or pain. Underline the word that best fits the definition of the following lines in catfish. Number 2. Read these lines from the poem. I vision him half feline, half fishy, a paradox in twins, unmixable as vitriol and vichy. What is the meaning of paradox as used in this poem? Number 3. Reread lines 13 and 14. Tantalus is a criminal in Greek myth. He is punished by keeping delicious food and drink forever just out of his reach. Why does the poet describe the catfish as a feline Tantalus? Use the chart on page 277 to organize your ideas about the poem. Number 4. Short response. Use details from the poem and your discussion to explain why the poet calls the catfish a feline Tantalus. Use the space provided on page 277 to write your response. That will be for homework tonight. Remember to look at your hint. Think of what you know about cats' usual reaction to fish. Okay, we are now going to start by reading the poem, The Catfish, by Oliver Herford. Line 1. The saddest fish that swims the briny ocean, the catfish I bewail. I cannot even think without emotion of his dreadful tale. When my pencil once I tried to draw one, I dare not show it here. Mayhap it is because I never saw one. The picture looked so queer. I vision him half feline, half fishy, a paradox of twins, unmixable as vitriol and vichy, a thing of fur and fins, a feline Tantalus forever chasing his fishy self to rend, his finny self forever self-effacing in circles without end. This tale may have a moral running through it, and Aesop had in his. If so, dear reader, you are welcome to it. You know what it is. Alright, I'd like you guys to go through your story now and look for any words that might tell you something about a word we do not know, or words that were uncommon to you. Go. Okay, hopefully you guys identified some things that were uncommon to you that we could find the meaning of today. I'm going to go ahead and underline some things as I read it a second time. Please follow along as we read it again. The catfish. The saddest fish that swims the briny ocean, the catfish I bewail. I cannot even think without emotion of his distressful tale. I'm going to underline that because I think that's important to us. When with my pencil once I tried to draw one, I dare not show it here. Mayhap it's because I never saw one, the picture looks so queer. I vision him half feline, half fishy. I think that's very important because that's showing us what the picture is showing us. It's giving us a visual. A paradox in twins. There's that word paradox, so I'm going to circle it. Unmixable as vitriol and fishy. A thing of fur and fins. I'm going to underline line there. A feline Tantalus forever chasing his fishy self to rend. I remember we read that in question number 3, so it's very important that we highlight lines 13 and 14 here. In circles without end, his tail may have a moral running through it. Interesting. So I think they're trying to teach us something using the comparison of this catfish and this Greek myth, Tantalus, to tell us a lesson or a moral. Alright, we're going to go now to question number 1. Before we do that, I'd like you guys to please turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor what you believe this story's moral was about and what is it trying to teach us. Go. Alright. Number 1. In the poem, one word has this definition: to cry out in sadness or pain. Underline the word that best fits the definition in the following lines from Catfish. The sadness fish that swims the briny ocean. The catfish I bewail. I cannot even think without emotion of his distressful tale. So which word in those lines means the same as to cry out in sadness or pain? Here's a hint. Look at your clue words and look at your root words you see in those 4 lines. Go. Okay, so some of you may have found this word. The word is bewail. Now, if you've ever heard the word wail before, you might know that it's a word used to describe crying. And so when it says the definition to cry out in sadness or pain, bewail, using the root word wail, helped us to know the meaning of that word. Question number 2. Read the lines from the poem. I vision him half female, half fishy, a paradox of twins, unmixable as vitriol and vichy. What is the meaning of paradox? When we look for meaning of context clues, we want to look for the words before it and the words after it to see if there's context in the words that surround it. So it says, I vision him half feline, half fishy, a paradox in twins. So twins is 2 things that are something we already know. And the two things that I believe they're comparing twins to in here is half feline, half fishy. And then the next line says unmixable. When we look at those words, there's a prefix un, the root word mix, and a suffix able. Unmixable, as vitriol and vichy. And we know in our definition that that is an acid and an old word for mineral water, and they are dangerous to mix. So when it says a paradox in twins, I'd like you to now go through your answer choices A, B, C, and D with your group and try to find the meaning of paradox using the context of the words that we just saw around it. Go. Okay. Looking at our answer choices, answer choice A says, a creature with parts that don't seem to go together. Part B says, a furry fish with a brother that looks like him. C, a scaly cat that is confused and spins around. Or D, a make-believe animal that has two different heads. So in answer choice D, there's no evidence to support that answer choice, so we're going to cross it out. In answer choice C, we're going to cross out that because that does not match our story. So we have two options here, answer choice A and answer choice B. When looking at the text, a creature with parts that don't seem to go together is correct. And one detail that supports that is the reference of an unmixable match. And that showed us that that match of feline and fish did not go together. We are now going to go down and work in our graphic organizer for the meaning of the word feline tantalus. Please turn your page to page 277 and follow along with me as we fill in this graphic organizer. So our unknown word is feline tantalus. And the context in the poem, I typed the words that matched the lines 13 and line 14. So you will need to write lines 13 and line 14 in your context box to know what the context of the word is. Okay. So one of our clues is the definition that it gives us for the word Tantalus. And it says, it is a Greek myth. He is punished by keeping delicious food and drink forever just out of his reach. So here in the clue box, we should put that definition. Another clue that we have is the line 16. It says, in circles without end. And so it's telling us that the fishy feline is always going in circles without end, and that is also a clue. So a possible meaning to this phrase would be a cat that can't reach his food, because in this case, the cat's food is his tail, so he is always chasing his tail. Please complete number 4, short response for homework tonight. Remember to think about the cat's usual reaction to fish while you answer the question in complete sentences.